Greetings, Android Studio class. This is your professor, Jeff Dunker. I wanted to give you a brief overview today of the Android development environment, Android Studio. And to get into it, hopefully you have it installed by now, and you can go and run it. And I'm running it right now. I presently have a project started, but what I'm going to do is close out of here so that you can see how to create a program from scratch. So I'm going to close project, and this is the screen you'll probably come up against first, and you'll want to start a new Android Studio project. What I'm going to do is show you a little brief detail of what kind of things you can choose. Everything here is called an activity. Any screen that's part of your Android program is an activity. So you always start developing one activity, and then you can always add more to your project as you go forth. So what I'm going to do today is show you, there's different ones you can choose to start with. A login activity for authenticating against the server, or even a local database. Google Maps activity in case you're making a map-like application. Scrolling activities if you're scrolling between different choices. What we're going to do right now is make an empty application activity, and I'm just going to go ahead and double click and make a name for this project. So I'm just going to call it JD Project 1 and see how it makes a package name underneath. It uses a domain name package addressing, name scheme. So it always starts with example.com, but if you have your own domain out there and you're making a game, or I have like a rockandroid.com site, you can always use that to make your package name from. But I'm just going to use the default example.com. You can always change the location of where your project's stored, so you can do that with the directory folder there for browsing and choosing. But you want to make sure to have Java selected as your language. And what they mean by a minimum SDK, how many devices out there in the world are going to be able to run your application correctly. What you want to do is, you see, if you're using API 16, it'll run on 99.8 of the devices out there in the world. If you pick a higher API level, it'll run on a less amount. If you had KitKat, for example, or if you're using the new, Q, for example, API 29, which is Android 10 version, that only run on 8.2% of devices. So I'm going to suggest that we just, for this example, use API 16. What that means is it has fewer newer cool tools in it, fewer newer libraries or improved libraries for networking, for graphics, whatever. There's tons and tons of different libraries out there to make your programming life a lot simpler. And we'll be importing different libraries, but just for now, be aware that API 16 will work for practically all our exercises. So I'll just click Finish, and it's going to build your whole framework for you. It may take a couple seconds if your computer's slower, but essentially it's going to show all the files that are needed to make an Android application run. You can't just have a single program file. It's a lot of resource files, as well as you can have many Java files in it as well. And in this activity, we're just going to have the main activity file, which can be found under the Java folder. But like if you had images, drawable images, you can put them under here. Your layout file, which is, you'll be working, besides with Java files, you'll be working with XML files. And we can just, this is a very common one, your activity main XML. If we double click it, it's going to show you how your whole application is laid out object wise for your different widgets, buttons, etc. And right now it's a simple Hello World program that it built, and I clicked on Hello World, which is a text view up here. You can commonly, you can drag extra text views or extra, anything onto the screen to help develop your program. If you wanted to put a button, You could bring a button down here and see how it has alignment markers and so forth. You can work with those and go from there. On the far right, it's going to have a lot of different layout options for you. You can wrap content, turn on and off visibility. For the text attribute, you can change it from hello world to like greetings all, for example, and see how it modifies that right on the design screen. We can also go into something called code view up here, or we can split the view into code and design. But I'm just going to go into code view because an XML file is simply just a text file that's markup language with special parameters that you can define and modify at will. See how my Android text for that one text view is set to greetings all now? I could change it again within XML to be greetings everyone. And then we could go see that change in design view, greetings everyone there. You can adjust the size and constraints here. I want you to experiment with this a little bit and see what the constraints do. There's also different XMLs for values, like the strings XML. The app name is put in there. It's currently JD Project 1. You could always make changes into the XML directly to change the name of your application. Your colors can be defined here if you have special colors that you want to reference in Java as color primary, and this is the actual color code in hexadecimal format of what that is. You can put any numbers in there. And there's hexadecimal color reference charts that you can find on the web to show what different colors are. But that's all under a resources tag, and that's just common XML coding schemes. So the main things are, like I said, the activity main. Your code for your Java is actually here. And see how it has the package name here. Package com example JD Project 1. I can double click those ellipses and see what actual files you're being imported. You're importing the standard Android OS bundle and the app compat activity file. So this gives you a basic rundown. What I want to show you is for the emulator to work properly, if we go into SDK, you can confirm what you have running here under SDK tools. And make sure that the Android SDK build tools are there, that you have Android emulator. I'm running on an AMD processor, not an Intel. And I used to have this installed, Android emulator hypervisor driver for AMD processors, but now I don't under this new version of the developer kit. So just keep that in mind. You may not have to have this, but check, and if your emulator isn't running, that's something you might need to check on, as well as if you have an Intel processor, the Haxum installer is here, so you may have to have that checked. But try it without first. And what we can do to run this program, it's not going to do much except show greetings everyone or greetings all. But we can pick the developer tools that we want. Those, you see how I have Pixel XL API 22 there, and JD Note and so forth. Those are different emulators or using different phones and resources. So basically, where those were defined was in AVD Manager, your virtual device manager. And see how I can create new virtual devices. You can pick a Pixel 2, or a Nexus 6 phone, a Galaxy Nexus. It shows a lot of different emulators that are out there. So if you wanted to make something for a wearable operating system, you have the Wear Square. There's automotive stuff you can develop for, or tablets. If you have a tablet that you're using that you bought cheap off eBay. These are all options for you to make your virtual devices on to test them out before you test them out on the real hardware. So now I'm going to pick that Pixel XL, and I'm going to run that program that I just made. So it's going to take a second for the OS to load from the emulator. And your computer at home may not be as fast, so it may take a minute or two. But it's pretty stable now. When I was teaching the class last fall, it was less stable. Let's put it that way. So we had more challenges, and we had to make sure we attached our phone device, personal Android phones, via USB cable to the computer, and then it would show up under this device list. So then you could select that device and then hit the run. And then it would actually, while it's attached via that USB cable, it would actually run the application on your attached phone or tablet. So hopefully this gives you a little bit of background on how to get things running. And keep in mind the book is going to have some discrepancies for the code, some of the code examples, because it's from 2016, and they have deprecated some of the methods and included newer methods for you to use. Typically the IDE will give you tips on what library to import now if a particular library is no longer available. But if you have questions on that, please give me a holler and I can help you out. And definitely post in the weekly Android forum if you have issues. But remember, there's a difference between the Android forum, developers forum, that you have to do that's graded, and that's in the main navigation bar on the left. But in each week's content, if you just have general questions, other students and I can help you out. So let's keep this a community effort and try to help each other where we can. And I look forward to seeing your code and having you guys submit some good, exciting programs. Thank you very much, and have a good day.